Okay, call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Feliska?
Present.
Mr. DeSarno?
Here.
Mr. Kaminsky?
Here.
Mayor Morgan?
Here.
Mrs. Joffrey?
Here.
Mr. Kogan?
Here.
Mrs. McKnight?
Here.
Salute the flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's a public meeting in the Borough Council, Borough of New Providence, County of Union, State of New Jersey. Adequate notice has been given in accordance with PL 1975, Chapter 231. That annual notice of revision was made in conformance with Section 13 of the Act. Before we start, it seems like every meeting we have a shooting in the United States. And the last one was in Allen, Texas. So let's just stand and give a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Now, the next item is a presentation from Director Harry Delgado from the New Jersey State Association of Chief of Police. Harry, it's always good to see you. I know we always get to see you every couple of years, because how many times have we been reaccredited?
Well, I
Five?
wanted to share with you, and it's pretty special. And I don't know if you remember the last time I was here, and I lost my voice. You could barely hear what I was saying.
Well, you can always get one back like mine.
This time I'm ready and loud.
Good.
So, but it's really special what I'm doing here tonight. I typically recognize the police department for becoming accredited, and certainly it is a privilege, and it's quite an achievement. But when you look at what context to that, sorry about that. When you add context to that, so about 52% of agencies that are eligible to become accredited have become accredited out of a total of almost 600 agencies. Reaccredited once, 32%. Reaccredited 3, 19%. Reaccredited 4 times, just below 8%. Reaccredited 5 times, 3.6%. Now, what the New Providence Police Department has done, and this is the 6th cycle, is they actually fall under less than 2% of the agencies that have had demonstrated this commitment and longevity to an accreditation program. That's remarkable. That's remarkable. There's only 2 other agencies that actually have been able to claim that achievement. So if you indulge me for a couple of minutes, I'd like to share with you the significance of the achievement. So the New Providence Police Department has made a commitment to adhere to best practices at the state and national level in a highly regarded statewide law enforcement accreditation program. This program, administered by the New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police and the New Jersey Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission, has helped to transparently demonstrate the professionalism and preparedness of state law enforcement agencies. The New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police Law Enforcement Accreditation Program is purposefully designed to enhance the professionalism and transparency in the state's public safety system. During these uniquely challenging times, I think we would agree, and to the threat of our health and safety, encouraging law enforcement agencies like the New Providence Police Department to follow standardized practices and policies is potentially life-saving and cost-effective investment of time and resources. Accreditation gives an agency a preparedness plan, a verification of excellence. Accreditation status represents a significant professional achievement. Now, in the New Providence Police Department since 2006, this department receives its prestigious accredited agency status by the New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police, and recognize that attaining accredited status continues to recognize is a continuous step in its mission to remain on track with state and national standards and the continued expectations for quality, professional, and ethical policing. So that's really remarkable. Now, the New Providence Police Department has been tried time and time again and measured against a set of national and state and national standards. In many instances have exceeded those standards in the state of New Jersey. Government officials can be more confident in the agency's ability to operate efficiently and meet community needs. Officers in accredited agencies, as I some here tonight, can take pride that they have been objectively recognized for their professionalism and adherence to the highest standards. Now, in closing, I'd like to say that there's a report that is generated that I get to review and forward to the Commission as I sat through in March through our last hearing. I'll just paraphrase briefly to close. Under the leadership of Chief Daniel Hand, the New Providence Police Department demonstrates a high level of competence, leadership, and professionalism. It is the opinion of the assessment team that the New Providence Police Department is a highly professional and committed agency which exemplifies all of the tenets of law enforcement accreditation at the state and national level. So it is indeed an honor here tonight, because this is a first on behalf of the New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police and New Jersey Law Enforcement Commission to congratulate Chief Daniel Hand, who happens to be up until this point your accreditation manager, the members of the New Providence Police Department, the mayor, council president, the council, and all those citizens that they so proudly serve for achieving their sixth accreditation cycle, joining a very, I should say a sixth time, very exclusive group of law enforcement agencies that amazing special commitment to excellence in policing. So to all, indeed, congratulations.
Well, thank you, Harry.
You're welcome. I actually bring.
Oh,
Good. So, Mayor? Yep. So to this distinguished officer, Mayor, I'd like to present you with a certificate.
thank you.
You've earned it.
They've earned it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you. I myself, and I know council feels the same way, that we are very, very proud of the work that not only you, the officers, do, but your staff does too. And the men and women of the New Providence Police Department only have one thing in mind: to keep our community safe. So thank you so much, and we'll hang this with pride. Thank you. Okay, now we have appointments for the Cable TV Committee. Stacy Mach of the Library, Alex Menard of the Board of Education, Bob Lesnowich, Jean McAjenic, Christopher LaPrey, Mark Andres, Robert Kalor, and Brian Jeffroy. Can I have a motion to accept the appointments?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No, so be it. So when's your first meeting, Diane?
Actually, Wednesday at
Good.
7:30,
Good.
venue to be determined.
Okay, we have correspondence, Jersey Central Power and Light, of a public hearing of the Rider RRC-RGGI recovery charge. State of New Jersey, the Department of Transportation, the state aid program, and I know we're right on that. Right, Bernadette?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, Union County Board of Commissioners, the introduction of county budget, Township of Chatham, a land development ordinance, and New Jersey DEP suspected hazardous substance discharge, and that's from the removal of an oil tank. Any comments? Seeing none, we'll go to council business. Alex, engineering.
Thank you, Mayor. First order of business, authorization to advertise the municipal engineer. This was the budgeted position. That was in the budget this past year. Resolution 2023-133, resolution authorizing return of escrow funds to Redwood, ERC New Providence LLC. This is the return of escrow funds in the amount of $7,072.83 associated with professional services for preliminary and final site plan approval for the expansion of Lantern Hill.
Okay, finance, Lisa?
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 2023-134 is a resolution providing for the insertion of any special item of revenue in the 2023 budget pursuant of NJS 40A40-87, Chapter 159, PL 1948 for the American Rescue Plan Firefighter Grant. This is grant money in the amount of $29,000 to provide personal protective equipment for our fire department. Resolution 2023-135 is a resolution providing for the insertion of any special item of revenue in the 2023 budget pursuant of NJS 40A4-87, Chapter 159, PL 1948. This is the Barclay Gill Seed Grant, and this was the grant that was received by the Mental Health Awareness and Education, Mental Health Awareness and Advocacy in our new committee, so that was for $7,500 to get them started. Resolution 2023-136 is a resolution providing for the insertion of any special item of revenue in the 2023 budget pursuant of NJS 40A4-87, PL 159, or Chapter 159, PL 1948. CDBG-CV grant. This is the CARES Act, and this is grant money in the amount of $125,000 to help Union County residents prevent, prepare, and respond to the coronavirus. The money is being used to purchase a generator for the DeCorso Center so that the facility can be used as an emergency shelter if needed. Resolution 2023-137 is a resolution providing for the insertion of any special item of revenue in the 2023 budget pursuant of NJS 40A4-87, Chapter 159, PL 1948, Distracted Driving Crackdown Grant. This is for $7,000, and it's a grant to support the crackdown on distracted driving. Resolution 2023-138 is a resolution providing for the insertion of any special item of revenue in the 2023 budget pursuant of NJS 40A4-87, Chapter 159, PL 1948, Federal Bulletproof Vest Grant. This grant money is for $504.99 for the reimbursement of one bulletproof vest for a new officer. And lastly, Resolution 2023-139, resolution authorizing the payment of the attached bills payable list in the amount of $7,186,266.04. Some of these significant items on this list include the Board of Education, which is the May appropriation for $6,751.969. State of New Jersey for the April state health benefit premium, that was $130,002, and the May appropriation for the library of $93,300.
I think that's 6 million,
What did I say?
6,000.
No, I'm sorry, $6,751,969.
You would have been flush.
Yeah, sure, $6,751,969.
Okay, Public Court, Alex.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 2023-140. This is the resolution authorizing an agreement between the Borough of New Providence and Richard Pitts for public art sculpture, Squirt Series sculpture. This allows the borough to enter into a contract for a new sculpture in Harmony Park by Vivian Collins. It might be installed around June of this year. This will replace the green sculpture that has been in the park for the past year.
Okay, we have Public Safety. Resolution 141 is to get new hoses for the fire department for $18,820. And I'm going to read this next one. This is what I brought up last meeting about the new program the county's doing, about Arrive. Okay, resolution entering into an agreement with Union County for the Arrive Together program for mental health crisis response. This program is a statewide mental health crisis response program which pairs mental health professionals with police officers. They Arrive Together program provides individuals in crisis with help as quickly and as effectively as possible. When 911 is called relating to mental health crisis, the program sends response teams consisting of local police officers who are trained in crisis intervention, along with mental health professionals who can help de-escalate the situation and avoid the use of force. The Arrive team together also follow up later to ensure that the person is receiving the help they need. In addition, the program provides teams to connect with individuals in their community who may benefit from their efforts. I do believe that we are linked in with Scotch Plains, Berkeley Heights, Summit, and us. Mountainside too?
Mountainside and Fanwood, I
Yeah.
think.
There's a couple on our
A
edge.
couple. So I think this is a great program. I just saw a newscast about how loneliness is the biggest form of depression and causes the most mental health issues. And it really came exacerbated with the COVID crisis. And people just were lonely and they lost contact with other people. And, you know, I think at this time, this is a very, very important program. So I think we have to give kudos to the county for coming up with this.
If I could just interject a second, on Monday of this week, Diane, Lisa, and I listened. There was a
Webinar.
A webinar. So we listened to more information from the county, and it sounds like such an amazing program, and I'm so happy that we're now going to be involved in it. Coming particularly during Mental Health Awareness Month, you know, it's great that New Providence, as well as our surrounding area, will be included in this. So, you know, big thanks to Union County for providing that. So very interested to see how that all works out. It's a great benefit to all of our residents.
And Union County was called the poster children of the state because we have the most towns and municipalities participating. So they were really excited about that.
Great.
Sounds like a great program.
Great. Okay, Resolution 143 is for Koch Holding Inc., which is for $38,230, and that's a resolution approving the purchase of a new police vehicle. I remember those a few years ago, those vehicles were $23,000, right? So, okay, Public Works, Alex.
Thank you, Mayor. First order of business there, stormwater assistant grant application. The borough submitted for and was approved for a grant in the amount of $25,000 to assist in upgrading the MS4 stormwater program to comply with the requirements of the 2023 Tier A MS4 permit renewal, which took effect on January 1st of this year. The Tier A municipal stormwater general permit authorizes the discharge of stormwater from small municipal separate storm sewers. Resolution 2023-144. It's a resolution authorizing the borough administrator to execute a settlement with the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. This authorizes the borough administrator to execute a settlement with the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection regarding a discharge event of last April of 2022. During that rain event caused an abnormal flow through the wastewater treatment plant. Pollutants in excess of discharge limits were recorded. The settlement with the DEP is a $1,000 fine. Resolution 2023-145, resolution approving purchase order for Cooper Power System in the amount not to exceed $99,785 for the emergency generator under the Sourcewell Co-op Contract 27889. This approves the purchase of the emergency generator for the DeCorso Center using the CDBG-CV grant, CARES Act money. Resolution 2023-146, resolution approving the proposal of the Torbill Construction, Inc., 172 South Street, Suite 101, New Providence, New Jersey, in the amount of $36,697 for the Centennial Park gazebo repairs. This basically approves the gazebo repairs that have been long awaited through, I believe, in sometime in very early November. We saw unsafe condition. Some repairs were done just before the December event, and the last few months, there's been several estimates that were submitted to the borough, and Torbuilt is our vendor that's going to get this thing up and fixed.
So, real quick, on the grants, we got 125,000 in grant money, and we're purchasing 100,000 for the generator, so where's that 25,000 going?
The rest of the money is going towards the transfer switch and the electrician to install it.
Great, thank you.
You want to do a request for bid?
Yes. Did I miss that?
Yeah. That's okay.
It came on.
Oh.
Come on after the printout.
Oh, sorry.
I didn't see that one either.
1 second. I'll read it for you. Oh, and the last order of business, some request to bid 2022 sanitary sewer lining project as well.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
One thing I wanted to say about the gazebo pavilion. It was brought to my attention that somebody put out on one of the social platforms that they were very upset about the pavilion, that it wasn't in shape in November. You know, that we plan to renovate that park in 2020 with our tricentennial. We had no idea that the pandemic was coming. No work could have been done. The other thing, later on, we wanted to fix it, but there was a supply chain issue. I wasn't about to do repairs on a facility when you had no idea if you were going to be able to get the materials to do the project. It would cause more damage than the wear and tear that's already there. I guess my point is that park was built totally by volunteers and grants from people buying benches, lampposts, bricks, and it didn't cost the local taxpayers anything. And I'm glad Torbuilt got this contract because he actually built the structure free of charge. None of the contractors that did the work out there got paid, except for the one who laid the bricks. But everything else was donated by residents of the town. I think it's unfair that people jump to conclusions that things weren't done on purpose. We always try and do the right thing here. And, you know, instead of asking why something wasn't done, people jumped at the conclusions. And I think it's unfair. And I think it's, instead of, you know, trying to tear the town down, we should find, you know, look to bring it up. This is a great community. You know, I go to different meetings with other mayors and everybody says, man, New Providence, what a great town. What a great town. And I agree. So I just wanted to say that because it really bothered me. Okay, next thing we have discussion items about the downtown ordinance. You know, we talked about different things about the downtown ordinance that came to be, and we listened to a lot of people. And there's a lot of things I agreed with. And but you just can't change things when somebody has an application already in the pipeline. You can't do that. So, right now, it was at 30 feet. years ago. It went to 45. We chose to bring it down to 38, the planning board, and we took that recommendation. However, people came up here, and I don't look at this town as quaint. This is a small suburban town. It's not Sturbridge Village or Liberty Village or things like that. But I think we do have to put some controls on. And I am, asking council to go back with a recommendation to the planning board and lower the height to either 32 or 30. And if there is a third story that is going to put on, that we do a step back on that third floor so it doesn't look like just up and down, and give it some context. So, I know people say, oh, you just do what you want to do, but we do listen. And I think the majority of us feel that, you know what, we heard it, we couldn't change it because an application was in, but we can change it now. So I say we go back and we send it back to the planning board. And Matt and I were there the other night, and, they said, we'll bring it to council and see how they feel. So I just want to ask all of you, do you feel the same way to bring it down, or at least look at it?
Absolutely.
Let me
No.
just clarify a couple things. So we never approved to go to 45. It was a recommendation
Yeah.
for our downtown master plan to go to 45, which we reviewed as a council and said, nah, it's still too high, so
And the planning board too.
let's make it. Well, the planning board reviews consistency with the master plan to make sure it's consistent with the master plan. But and when we approved, I think we landed on 35, right? The 35, I believe we landed on.
38.
Currently 30.
38, okay. And the current project that was reviewed by the planning board was 35, came in at 35 feet. That's 30 feet, I think, to the building, and then another 5 feet for incidentals.
The power pit.
Power pit and whatnot, which is kind of off-street. And so what you're asking is to go back to the planning board to recommend that we decrease that height to 30 feet?
32.
32? Been on planning board a long time, with
Yeah.
yourself as well.
Yeah.
I agree with what you're saying. We got some great feedback from some residents, and that's what we want. That's what the planning board does, right? We're just residents listening to what, the professionals are saying, right? Getting input from the public, and then making decisions based on all that information. That we did get some good input. I felt that the master plan that we approved was good. We did get some good feedback. Can we take some of that feedback, go back to our planners and ask them to look at that feedback and make decisions, like you said, on maybe offsetting the third story? That might be a little bit better visual for our downtown. I'm happy to do that, and I think that's a good idea. My concern on the height is, again, I think we need professionals to tell us whether or not, if we go to 30 feet or 32 feet and you can do 3 stories, then you can do that, then that's the height it should be. If they say that you cannot do that, then I think we have to think about, because I think we landed on a number we felt was comfortable based on the planners, in terms of what we were hoping, a retail space would get versus 2 residential properties above it. And I think there was some leeway there. So I think you're
Yeah.
right, and I think we could.
I think you and I even discussed it, because the residential units are putting 10-foot ceilings in. And, what do you need 10-foot ceilings? Well, that's the most desirable, but we're not here to make things the most desirable. If it's what is best for the town. And, quite frankly, and I think you agree, is that there's not probably one other space that'll qualify for 3 stories anyway. with the parking restrictions.
Right.
So I think that's the other caveat to the thing. You know, sometimes you may be better off just making it 2 stories and, you know,
So if they don't have the
doing it
parking,
from there.
they
Yeah,
really
to
don't have
reduce the
parking.
parking. So, you know, I think it works both ways, and I know you've thought about it a lot, and I have, because we've been going through this for years.
And
So-
we said all along, right? We said all along that this is a living document.
Right.
And it's something that we're gonna, continue to look at and make sure that it makes sense. We did approve the plans of the 44 South Street, right? So, right?
Yes.
With a
But
lot of
that
it.
was
I've only heard that like for
That
years.
was in a pipeline for a long time.
But I'm very, I'm very excited to see how that turns out. And I think it's gonna turn out well. I think the plans, if anyone looks at the resolution of those plans, it's like 15 pages long, right? And there's pages and pages of the owner of that property, listening to the questions and listening to the recommendations, not only of the planning board, of the professionals, but of the public. So, they're trying very, very hard to make sure that they're gonna build something that they live here too, right? The owner of that building lives in town. He has, businesses in town. He wants to do what's right for the town. So I'm excited to see how that turns out.
The other thing I heard was that the building next door, the bank, they're talking about selling that and knocking that down. So I think that's something that we really have to look at and be concerned about in the future, so.
So Matt, are you saying that in your opinion, 30 or 32 feet is adequate still for?
I can't answer that. I'm saying
Yeah,
if
you don't have
a
to go to the
planner
planner.
can tell me that, because I know we had conversations about that height. We landed on the height because of the retail space, the height of the retail space that we wanted to have, and all the different mechanicals that needed to go on. And I think we went back and forth a little bit on whether it was 32 or 35 or things, and 38. And so I'm definitely open to hear, the professionals tell us, based on what we've heard and based on what the public wants, based on, what some of the planners are seeing, if we can reduce it.
Mayor, I want to thank you for bringing this up. You all know my view on this. When this was discussed in the fall, when the ordinance changed from 30 feet 2 stories to 38 feet 3 stories, I was clear and consistent in my opposition to that. I like to think that I heard the people at that time, and it was clear to me at that time that, and it's still clear, that people have concerns going up higher from a visual impact standpoint, from a traffic standpoint, from a parking standpoint, adding that additional story. I simply don't see the need to increase it at all, given the massive development we see everywhere else. I'd like to see that kind of be absorbed first and understood first before we'd even propose something like that. So while I certainly, I think this is a great step in the right direction, personally, I would still prefer to go back to the original ordinance of 30 feet 2 stories.
Okay, the question is, do we want to send it back to the planning board?
Yes.
I
Yes.
would definitely,
Yes.
I would like more information from the planning board.
Just one comment, only because I'm probably the newest member of council, haven't had a chance to even comment on this. I applaud your effort, Mr. Mayor. I think it's great that we're bringing it back down. My only concern, and it's always been before I was even elected, is the residential aspect of it. And I think 2 feet, give or take 2 feet, I don't think makes a drastic difference. But at the same time, knowing the congestion we have and putting more residential units, so listen, the process is well managed by the planning board. I hope they just consider that aspect of
Yeah, it
putting more
may
residential.
be more conducive to just make it 2.5 stories.
Correct.
I don't know, but, I think it's something we have to look at.
Like you said, it's dynamic, and it's
Okay,
good that we go to
I
that.
mean, there's a lot of places downtown that are 2.5, so,
Very good.
okay. Okay, let's go to committee reports. Actually, my big thing was, we got re-accredited again. One of 3 towns in the state of New Jersey, which has 565 municipalities. I think that's a pretty good record. And the fishing derby that the PBA and the community activities department ran was outstanding. Everybody had a good time, and the donuts were pretty good too. Right, Alan?
Excellent.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay. That's all I have. We talked about the Arrive program, which I think is beneficial. So, Diane?
Thank you, Mayor. I actually have several things to talk about. We're excited about the cable committee that's going to kick off next week. Sustainability, the next big thing is our free cycle in September. And we're working on some PSAs, like about wildflowers help pollinators. Communications, we had a great meeting last week. Sorry, I was remiss in not mentioning it the last council meeting. We had an opportunity to look at the website, which is by Civics Plus, which is a great company in the country. A little known fact is many website administrators use analytics to see what users are basically using, and that is totally on our radar. New Providence uses Google Analytics to see how people are using the borough website, and our efforts are being focused on efforts to ensure that the functionality that people are looking for is there. And I think we're all really excited about what's going to happen. We are on target for, I believe, mid-June, early July. Board of Health, that was a very interesting meeting. There's a big sign outside which looks beautiful. There is a health fair for seniors at the Corso Center the morning of May 17th. There is also vector-borne diseases, I believe that's what it's called. We should be on the lookout for those this year. Because of the mild winter, tick-borne and mosquito-borne illnesses are going to be on the rise. So please be careful with standing water and stuff. And they were telling us about the Lone Star tick, which is actually almost like a predator tick. It's kind of scary, but it looks for mammals. So please try to be diligent with that. And then the Historical Society, there is a flea market on June 10th, and they are accepting people if you want to have a table.
Okay, great, thank you. Pete?
Yeah, Mayor, I attended the Board of Ed meeting on Thursday, April 27th. That was a pretty big meeting. I have two board members here in attendance. They approved the 2023-2024 budget. The school tax levy increased from $1.4 million to $42.1 million. The tax imposed on the average borough home with a market value of $700,000 approximately is $199 or 2.29%. The budget did include full-day kindergarten and a new elementary school math program, iReady Classroom. The new course offerings in both the middle school and high school are also included in the budget. Some of their big line items, similar to ours, are people-related costs. Classroom instruction, 42.4%, employee benefits, 20.7%, and instructional support, 16.9%. A little more on that new math program, which was an interesting presentation. Again, they went through, I guess they evaluated 8 programs and brought it down to 2, Envision Mathematics and iReady, and after further looking at the program, they settled on that iReady Classroom. The other thing I'd like to report is from the community activities, a couple announcements that the community might find helpful. Registration is open for all New Providence Recreation Youth Summer programs, including playground camp, mini playgrounds for preschool children, and baseball and softball camp. Residents can register online via Community Pass or call the Recreation Department with any questions you may have. The New Providence Memorial Day Parade, which I know has always been one of a great day in town and one of my favorites, will be held rain or shine on Monday, May 29th, beginning at 10 a.m., starting on the corner of Springfield and Central. If your community group is interested in marching, please contact the Recreation Department. We hope that all residents will come cheer for the marchers along the parade route. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Matt?
So just want to mention on the web, one, I wanted to thank the Communications Committee, not only this year, but last year as well. I know this website's been in development for a few years, and we've had some bad luck, right, with the company we initially went with, right, and went almost a year down the road in development before that got blown up. The website, we got a peek at that, right, at their last call, and I think it looks and feels great, and I'm really, really excited about it, and I think it's going to add tremendous value to the community. So we're looking forward to that. On the fishing derby, I think did I tell the story last time about my friend who caught fish for my kids? So he lives up the street, and he loves the fishing derby just as much as I do, and so we went down there, and he was a consultant to some of the kids that were fishing, and lo and behold, one of the kids that he was consulting won the derby. So he is definitely a fish whisperer. Thank you. But as we were there, a little bit later on, a child, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 years old, he caught a big lunker, came over, he got his prize, the smile on his face, it was awesome, and that's what the derby's about. It's a free event, and our PBA puts that event on for the community, so I want to thank them for that, and it's awesome. And I do have a video of two very large lunkers in the middle of that pond that are still there. I took it yesterday, although they were there yesterday. I don't know, people are still fishing out there, but if you still have a pole, go get them.
Okay. The only thing I caught was a cold. But, Nadine?
Thank you, Mayor. Really, the only thing I want to bring up is, so we are now in the middle of Mental Health Awareness Month. So I just wanted to point out a couple of things to everybody. If you see the ribbons on the poles downtown, there are QR codes that you can scan for random acts of kindness, which are very nice. There's also a tree that has those. There's one at the library, one at the high school. You may notice that some of our businesses are now painted green. The business community has really embraced Mental Health Awareness Month. They have hearts in their windows. They have our logo in the window, Mind Your Mind in the window. And many of them are having some specials. So you can go into some of the hair salons and get green hair extensions. You can go into the nail salons and get the nails painted green. So, and I believe we are pending some specials from our restaurants as well. So many residents, many businesses are embracing Mental Health Awareness Month, and really it's just key to be kind to your mind. Something very important, and we just hope to expand on this as time goes on.
And I think they were pretty successful in painting the town green, because I don't think you can drive downtown at night without seeing all the green lights.
Yes, and the lights too. So Adams Shopping Center, they were able to turn that green, and Harley's as well. So it looks outstanding. So thank you to the business community. Again, thank you to our mental health advocacy and education team. Very passionate, well-meaning, great group. So happy to be a part of that.
Okay, Alex?
Thanks, Mayor. We had a very productive engineering meeting last week with the Borough Administrator and Keith Lynch, really gearing up to hire this new engineer that we saw in the agenda today. I think that will bring a lot of backlog projects to completion and will really help Keith and his team and the borough. We looked at one of the goals to come up with a 5 to 10 year master plan for all the borough buildings, for some of the infrastructure that we have to address, actively still pursuing charging stations in the borough, which will depend on some grants that we're looking into, but very productive meeting. On the diversity committee, I filled in for Councilwoman Jeffroy yesterday, gearing up for the Unity Day, which is going to be June 3rd from 5 to 7:30. Really, the high school kids that are participating in it are taking full control. You're definitely going to see some more promotional material on the websites and whatnot, some publications. And I believe the diversity committee is going to be marching in the parade and passing out flyers to promote this event.
Good. Lisa?
I don't have anything to report, but I had this nice little invitation at my desk when I sat down today, so I'll just share with everybody else at the New Providence High School Middle School Art Festival. May 17th from 6:30 to 8:30. So practical arts, short films, culinary arts, live music, live readings, and fine arts. So it sounds awesome. May 17th.
A lot going on the 17th.
Yeah.
Busy day.
Yeah. Okay, Bernadette?
Thank you, Mayor Morgan. Just want to remind everyone that the borough will be closed to the public next Friday. Borough staff is going to be undergoing professional development during the day. The lobby will be open if you have to pick up a permit or drop anything off. The following week, Friday, we will start summer hours. Borough will close at 1 o'clock on Fridays from May 26th through Labor Day. All the remaining hours will be the same. And lastly, but certainly not least, the construction in the borough continues. There are detours all over. We are very sorry for that. But at the end of the day, it will definitely be better for the borough. We spoke to PSE&G today. We're ironing out the paving schedule with them. They are going to start paving, I believe, on or about June 1st. Some of the streets that were in phase 1 of their gas line replacement, and the borough will be backfilling on some of those other streets. So paving is coming, and PSE&G will be in town for many, many, many more weeks.
They're all over Summit. How many trucks?
They're
and people do they
All
have?
over everywhere.
They're everywhere. They've hired
Everywhere.
subcontractors, so they are in every town. We have asked them to limit the number of contractors in our borough to 3, so there's only 3 projects at any given time going on here.
Yeah, I'd like that everybody who walks or ride a bicycle, and I know I said something to Alan the other day, please be careful. Where they're digging up and replacing the macadam, it's not smooth. It's only temporary. So
I make recommendations for streets that need to be repaved, so I'm not bouncing so much.
the other thing, Jersey Central is sending their tree crews out. I just want everybody to understand that Jersey Central has a statewide general permit. They can do whatever they want in the right of way. We have no control over it. We ask them all the time, please give us notice if you're going to take a tree down or if you're trimming, that we can notify the residents in the area. A lot of times it just doesn't happen. They send out a contracted crew and they just go and take a tree out. But, we try and work with them. Sometimes it's not successful. But I just want everybody to know, we all like trees, but if a tree's dying, they take it down. And I guess taking the tree down is better than losing your power for a couple weeks. So, and we've all seen that. Okay, anybody wishing to address council? Yes, Rebecca.
Rebecca Caniglio, 48 Marion Avenue. I made you an arts and crafts project because nothing else I'm doing seems to get through to you, so I use magic marker. And people lie, but pictures tell the truth. So you can take a gander at that. I want to first start off by thanking the strong women and gentlemen who came out to support me tonight. Many people wanted to be here, but I did not want them to give up missing their children's sporting events. People are very interested and watching very closely what is going on with the way my family and I are being treated here in town and our living conditions. So I wanted to give you a few updates since I was here in December. First of all, I never received an apology for the false statements made about my horrible situation. After I was here in December, some individuals with their own strange agendas tried to create a false narrative that my terrible living environment has had any impact on my positive working relationship with Bernadette. I'm sorry, but that is just not true. I have respect for her, and she has shown me empathy. A few days after I was here, a fire pit across the street from me was left unattended. No consequences were given. I would like to request, again, that the ordinance around fire safety here in New Providence is looked at. It has to be clear when you can burn, what you can burn, and that it is extremely dangerous, careless, and selfish to leave a fire unattended. Next point, there are cars and trucks parked all over my corner at all times of the day and night. I have been blocked from accessing my own driveway on multiple occasions. This is me trying to pull out of my driveway. These are cars at my driveway. This is a truck idling under another idling sign at my driveway. I have requested a no parking sign across from my driveway so that I am free to come and go in peace. I have been given the same non-answer for years, but this week I was told that I could request a no parking spot from you. So I would appreciate that, because really it is the least we can get from suffering here for years. The noise remains constant and unbearable. There is not one peaceful day ever. Sleeping and working is disrupted on a daily basis by loud trucks, slamming doors, and loud voices outside my office window. We are asking again for noise ordinances and nuisance ordinances to be looked at and enforced, especially given the increase in working from home. Most people work at least 9 to 5. They are not able to sit outside all day long and talk very loud, except outside my house. So this is a very serious problem, and we seriously need serious solutions. My workday can start anywhere from 7:30 in the morning and go to 10 o'clock at night. And I'm going to stop what I wrote and bring up a very important point. You have spent most of this meeting talking about mental health awareness. The slogan of NP Mind Your Mind, I don't even know if any of you even know where that came from. But one day, Debbie, me, and Harry were on a call, and Debbie brought up Mind Your Mind, but she didn't want it to be whatever the word is. And I said, what about NP Mind Your Mind? Next thing I know, it's all over the place, which is great, but I just thought you should know where it came from. So I am a mental health provider, and in my office, what I'm doing is Zoom counseling sessions. Not sure if any of you ever attended a counseling session. It's a good idea. It's embarrassing, it's humiliating for me to have to say, excuse me, I need a second because I can't hear, because I can hear the voices inside my house. It's too loud. It's too loud. And it's a terrible reflection on our not so quaint town. In addition, recently I was harassed in my own driveway by someone I do not know for no reason. I was sitting in my car, in my driveway with my car off on my phone. Luckily, an officer was able to identify the person. We asked for the identity of this person because it was the second time he harassed me. For some reason, we were told we needed to get an OBA request. I wasn't even given the name of the person harassing me. We did the OBA request. We now have his name, and when you look his name up, he was arrested for drugs. The fact that I'm subjected to this form of harassment in New Providence makes me sick. We have been spending months trying to move, and we will move when we find a suitable place to go. But for the time being, my home feels like a prison for a crime I did not commit. I do not go outside ever. My windows are closed and my shades are pulled tight. I have no idea what a peaceful day feels like here. So I come to you again, and I ask, where is the leadership? Who is in charge here? Who is controlling the chaos? Who is looking out for our safety and quality of life? Right now, this is affecting me and my family. But ask yourselves, what if this happens in your neighborhood? There are no rules and no consequences. Trust me, you would not like it, and you would not tolerate it. We pay a fortune to live here, and we work hard. You have to do better for us.
Oh, I'm sorry that you have to live like this, Rebecca.
I don't believe you. I don't believe that you are sorry.
Okay, you don't have to.
You can go. Thank you.
However, what I am going to say is this. We have told Mrs. Caniglio that when an event happens, she has to call dispatch so a police officer comes over and they can handle the situation. That never happens. She will not call dispatch. She sends an action line which somebody sees hours later or days later. It just, we can't do certain things. There are no ordinances. They comply with the state statutes. That's what they do. You could send the Board of Health over there, but they're going to say it doesn't violate the decibel levels. We've sent the fire inspector over. You know, if she sees something wrong, call dispatch, we'll send somebody over, get the fire official over there, and they can issue a summons. Idling, if you have a truck there idling, you know, it's over the 3 minutes or whatever the federal law is, they can get a summons. But you can't complain about it after the fact. A police officer has to witness the incident when it's happening. As for parking, you cannot spot zone. It's illegal. I mean, I live up on the end of Livingston Avenue. I have a lot of cars parked in front of my house.
Can I just say something?
After I'm done. And you know what? People walk up and down the paths up there. Oh, in the winter, if there's snow, I mean, it's completely packed up there with cars and people who have their kids sleigh riding. So I understand the frustration. And if there was a threat, it should have been reported to the police. Telling us isn't going to help. You have to file a report with the police department. We've offered mediation between the two parties. We've sat down, I know Bernadette, myself, Chief Henn, sat down with the Caniglios for almost 2 hours. We put a no idling sign there. That's all we can do legally. We can't stop people from gathering. There is a First Amendment, freedom of assembly. Our hands are tied. And I know she's frustrated, and I feel bad for her. But there's only so much we can do. And you have to, it comes to a point where you're just going to have to call dispatch and get an officer over there so they can, give him a summons if that's required. I know Mr. Rizzo has spoken ad nauseum, not only with her, but with her attorney. So, at that point, that's all I'm going to say about it, and I wish, if we could do more, we would. But legally, we can't. So, is that an accurate description?
Absolutely, we've been down this road before.
Yes. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Give your name and address. Come up. Give your name and address.
Yeah, so I'm Pam Venturella, and I've lived in town for about 24 years.
And where do you live?
On Candlewood Drive.
Okay.
So, I've never really spoken at one of these meetings. And
That's
it
all
was
right.
actually really alienating when you told me not to talk. I just want to say it was intimidating and.
That's the procedure.
Okay, now I know.
No, don't feel intimidated. You're welcome to say whatever you have to.
Rebecca has given of her time in this community ever since I knew her. Our daughters have been through preschool together and up, so I've known her quite a bit of time. And from what I see, because she shares with quite a few people her struggles, I've been to her home. I've actually witnessed this myself because our daughters played when they were younger and there were play dates, and I constantly tried to park there safely on that road. I never involved myself, but I did see that it was dangerous, and it was also, it was as if they enjoyed tormenting her. That was my sense of what was going on. And I'm sorry that she's in this position, and I think if any of us would be, I think we'd all feel pretty bad. Living in a town where you feel like, maybe you want to get support or you deserve to have the support, and you're not feeling the love. And I think there is quite a disparity right now. I think she has reported things. I've smelled the gas and the idling, and I think to myself, I'm really fortunate. I love my neighborhood. We have incredible respect for one another. It is such an interesting mix of people. We all get along. We socialize together. The houses are pretty far spread out, but we still make an attempt to get to know all our new neighbors, and once a truck parked across from my driveway, years ago, when the T-Locks were doing work on their house, and I backed out of my driveway very carefully, and I just remember Neil and Jessica coming out and actually asking the truck to move and apologizing to me, and it was just, it's this mutual respect that people have for one another, and I think most people feel it in this town, right?
I agree with you, totally.
It's kind of to the point where, like, I think it's kind of like this childish thing where every time she's complaining, they now really enjoy it. And that is one thing that I wish that the town would consider supporting her on, because, they found her in town one day and they called her a Karen. I mean, who wants to live with people like this? I mean, that is, and I understand, I get a sense of who these people are. They've been around a lot longer than me in this town, and I don't want any trouble from them, but like, she kind of deserves, to be respected too and taken care of. And no, she's not lived here for 1, 2, 3 generations, but, she makes a significant contribution. She always has from the moment I met her in preschool. She really does care about this town, and I don't think she's feeling like anybody really cares about her. I mean, these people can do pretty much whatever they want. They know when they should stop because they don't want to get caught, and then they just ramp it up again, and I'm just like, that's kind of disgusting, and I wouldn't really want to live around people. It would make me want to move too. And I fear the worst. When she does finally get to move, who's going to buy her house? They're going to actually do something to spoil the wells and make that not happen for her, because they seem extremely vindictive, immature, and just like incredibly childish. And I worry about that. She deserves whatever her property value is on the sale of her house. She doesn't deserve this treatment, and it's really to the point where it's not repairable. Maybe somebody could sit down with this family and say, can we try? Can we just, try to be good neighbors? Does anybody know what that is? I mean, again, I love my neighborhood. I don't see why it can't be like that everywhere. And I do feel for her.
I agree with you. I've lived here all my life.
But instead of like going on the defensive with her, I think she's really at the point where she just doesn't feel like anybody really cares about what she's going through.
Let me say this. We have bent over backwards. We sat down and went through all her complaints. It took about 2 hours. Okay? I can't go against what the law is. And, we said,
But what about
right
just
from
what
the first-
human empathy and what
Well, that's great, but-
decency and respect, does that
well,
count for
when
anything?
did we not sitting down with her?
Not you, I'm just saying what these people are doing to her. It's not decent, it's not respectful, nobody would want to live across the street from that.
I understand that, but legally, they're within the confines of the law. And, I know it sounds like we're just scapegoating everything, but we have to enforce the laws that are on the books.
But I mean,
It-
you know this family, a lot of people do, they've been around for a long time. I mean, I would never want to go head to head with them because I actually would be afraid of what they would do to me, and my daughter, who's still in the school district. So I would never.
I understand what you're saying.
But you have known them a long time. I
Who?
mean, this family across
I
the street.
knew his grandfather.
Okay, great. So they've been
He
around
died
a long
decades
time.
ago.
Right,
So-
but I mean, are these the kind of people that we want to live in this community? What is their contribution except intimidation?
You really can't discriminate who lives here and who doesn't.
Right, because nobody behaves like they do. But don't you think you could go over there and knock on their door and say, like, we care about everybody in this town, and, you know, can't we just try, you know?
We had tried mediation. It
And
was
what does-
refused,
But you did sit down and you talked with Rebecca and her husband?
right? And we
Yes.
said, we offered mediation,
And,
and she refused. We said, when something comes up, you have to notify dispatch. We will send a police officer over right away. She refuses to do it.
well, she has called the police, and the response that she's gotten really makes her feel like she's not as important in this community as they are.
Yeah, I don't think she's calling right away, though. So if somebody was blocking my driveway, I would call the police right away.
Yeah.
You have to, and when something's happening, you have to call right then. You can't like, well, last week this happened or that happened. You have to call, and they will send somebody if something's going on, and that's really, and then you have to go to court over it. It's a terrible process, but that's really the only way,
Yeah.
but that's
The
unfortunate.
judge,
Like,
if there's
It is
something
you're
going
right.
on, the
I
judge
love
can
that. It
mandate
is a
certain
terrible
things.
process.
Am I correct?
In the meantime,
If it can get to a
she's-
judge, yes.
Yeah.
It's a terrible process, and this is a person who works. She's a therapist. She's constantly on calls with people. She's constantly working. I mean, I take care of my 98-year-old father, and if I ever had like a court case come up, I would probably just not do anything unless somebody was suing me. But if like I had a problem, I'd have to let it go because he's my number one priority right now. So imagine somebody that's working full-time and has these people. I mean, at some point you lose your mind because you just can't, you can't keep it all together. So, and you know, again, I just think it's easier said than done, and I think she's feeling at this point like nobody really cares. And again, I'm worried about her property value. You know, when she does get a chance to get out, they're going to do something really bad. I just get a sense that they will. And I'm not a realtor, but like if I was looking in this town for a home and a realtor showed me that place and I saw that, you know, I don't know if you've been over there recently, but like the Trump 2024 signs everywhere and I would be like, you know.
Oh, they have my signs all over the place, and I don't even know where they got them.
But you're you, and Trump is quite controversial, and I think it says a lot when they do, and they're doing it to her. They're not just doing it because, you know, and it's other thing. Just the other day, I drove over there and I saw like a giant pile of mulch in the street, and I thought, oh, we get mulch delivered too, but it gets put in our driveway. And I'm thinking, don't they care that somebody's going to steal that? And who can park there? There's like, I don't know how many yards it was. So like, whenever they have a chance, they do really mean things to her. And I wouldn't buy that house. I would actually not even look in this town if a realtor took me to that house. So, you know, that's my point.
Thank you very much. And it's well taken. We're not unsympathetic.
Yeah.
Our hands are tied.
But I don't think they need to, I don't know, I kind of feel like, you know, we shouldn't just give up. I don't think we should give up on Rebecca. I think we should.
There comes a point where you have to help yourself too. And you have to.
What do you suggest she does?
Call the police
She does.
when the incident happens.
She does.
No,
She's
she
in town
doesn't.
and she's getting accused of being a Karen.
That has nothing to do with the police department.
Oh, but it's the person that lives in that house? You know, that's not the police department. Who is that? If I was on the street, I wouldn't want to be accosted by somebody.
Then call the police
File
and say
harassment.
this, file a report.
You have to file a report. If somebody not assaulted you, but if somebody harassed you, you call the police and then you file a report.
File a report.
But it just has to get done. It's terrible.
To me, it just sounds like I cannot even believe in this town that you would have to go through those steps.
It's not only this town, it's every town. It's state law.
Yeah. Okay.
People have rights, and fortunately, you can be a jerk, and it's legal to be a jerk. Unfortunately. And I think that's the best way to put it, right, Paul?
Lucky where I
There's only
live,
so much you can do.
yeah.
We're not unsympathetic.
Well, I would definitely consider property values in this town, like all around them, because I don't know who would want to live there. And that's that's probably one of the scariest parts. Rebecca's going to be fine once she gets out of there, but, you know, that is, nobody would pay.
No, I understand what you're saying.
So, all right, well, thanks.
Okay, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Anyone else wishing? Yeah, Alan.
Hi, Alan Swanson, 47 Overhill Road. I just have I'm going to ask a question, but I want to say that I have lived a number of places, and I have been outspoken from time to time, and you do run into a number of jerks, and even in this town, I have received hate mail from time to time. I expect that would continue. That's something you have to be aware of when you're going to be out.
Over the years, we've had a lot of neighbor disputes that have come before council.
I guess I'm being a little bit sympathetic. I guess sympathetic in both directions here. My question is, where did we end up with going back to the planning board? Exactly what is it that you're asking them? Because you had a discussion, and I'm not sure exactly what the charge is that you're sending back to
To
them.
reevaluate the ordinance.
Just broadly, just reevaluate the ordinance, because that's a
And
broad.
I'll bring up what we discussed at council, and we'll discuss it.
Okay, I just thought, I was just trying to clarify.
Yeah.
Is it just about the height of the buildings, or you're
Yeah,
just saying
pretty
reevaluate? I mean, because it was based on the 2016 downtown master plan,
Yeah.
and so there was a lot more to it than just.
We're just looking at the height.
Okay, that's all I'm trying to clarify. Okay, so it's just about the height. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Yeah, Kathleen.
Hi, Kathleen Dolan. I live at 12 Laurel Drive. Good evening. I'd like to speak to the issue of road repairs in New Providence. We all know there's been a significant degradation in our town's roads that has accelerated over the past year or more between water main breaks, replacement of water lines, replacement of gas lines, general erosion due to extreme high temps in summer, and heavy rains that create cracks and widen gaps in the surface, among other things. I've seen and heard Mayor Al ask for patience from the residents, and I think we all understand what a large undertaking this type of infrastructure upgrade can be. What we don't understand, and what is still not apparent after a pretty thorough search of the borough's about-to-be-retired website, is how the work is being planned, scheduled, carried out, paid for, or communicated to the public, or who is responsible for actually repairing our roads once the underlying infrastructure repairs are completed on each road. So on the website, under project updates, the borough's website shows a PSE&G gas line replacement project update. That was last updated on March 31st of this year. And it indicates there are 3 crews working on Knollwood Drive, First Street, and Hickson Drive. But we don't know, are those projects complete? What are the next projects? There's also a link to the PSE&G website that lists all of the New Providence roads being affected, with color coding indicating if the work is complete, in progress, or not started. And according to this chart, only about 20% of the work has been completed after a year. So I have a question in with PSE&G as to how accurate that chart is. And will it really be a 5-year-long project? That's what it sounds like if it's 20% a year. So there are occasional notices about streets being blocked off for work, but most times it's not clear how long they'll be closed or what exactly is being done. The need for the work is out of our local government's control, but sharing information about the timing and projected completion dates is essential to allow residents to plan for the disruption and then demonstrate the patience that is requested. And there are public safety implications here too, as walkers, bikers, and drivers navigate the torn-up roads. One resident I spoke to asked if it would be possible to have the police department or DPW tour the roads in town and use a fluorescent spray paint to draw attention to the severely damaged areas to at least give people using the road a chance to avoid the holes during construction. So I would just respectfully ask the mayor, the Borough Council, and Borough Administrator to please provide the answers to these questions. I know we heard something mentioned today about something that was going to start, but we really would love to have something in writing, some guideline that we can all use, and would you consider this road hazard painting suggestion? Thank you.
Well, first off, we tell them which roads that we're going to be paving a year ahead of time. So we try to coordinate, right? As Bernadette said, they had a meeting with PSE&G where they'll pave some roads, we'll pave other roads, and we'll coordinate the effort. Roads can't get paved until after, when do the asphalt factories open?
So paving can't start until the temperatures warm up, which is
Right.
right about now. Unfortunately, yes, they will be here for years. This project is immense. It's not like a typical, we're going to come in and do one gas main. They are doing the entire town. So three crews a week. It's pretty much going to be a very long-term project. Certain streets, depending on the street, when it was last paved, the utility company is either responsible for paving from the center line to the curb or from curb to curb. So if we have recently paved it, they have to pave the whole street. If we have paved it 5 years out, they're only responsible from the center line to the curb, which is then the borough comes in to make sure that the entire street is paved.
Which was a
So-
resolution that we passed recently.
Correct.
we held a
So
discussion about it.
there's been a lot of coordinating with PSE&G at this point as to who's paving what road in its entirety. So we're kind of trading off roads so that they would do a full road and we would take the other road, so that, they're responsible for so many square feet, so we trade off roads so that, they're liable for what they're liable for and then we pick up the rest. Sure.
Don't get confused, I'm another Alan, so.
Spells it different.
You're in good company.
Actually, I think we might spell it the same.
You spelled the same way?
I don't know.
I spelled it right.
I did.
A-L-L-E-N.
Oh, never mind.
You're out.
All right, well, okay, so my name's Alan Lerner. I moved here about 3 years ago. My main concern is, number one, I live off of Livingston on Thomas Street. We actually spoke on the phone last year because of our street has been in disrepair. I have an 84-year-old neighbor who I'm really close with. His wife just passed away. He is in ailing health, and he literally is a prisoner in his own house. He cannot, I went over there so we can go take a walk, so we can just get his, blood moving and just stretch his legs. He literally cannot leave his driveway because of the condition of the street. He's lived there for over 60 years and said he does not remember, and his mental capacity is definitely there. He says in the 60 years that he's lived there, he cannot remember the last time the street was paved. I know when we moved in, the street was in disrepair, and then after PSE&G, took the wrecking ball to it, you cannot even drive down the street. You literally feel like you're, in a milkshake or a meat grinder. It's that bad. And my question is, number one, one statement first, that PSE&G has access to asphalt. So, waiting until it warms up, they have unlimited supply of asphalt. Why wasn't it coordinated when they ripped up the street to just, because they ripped up.
So PSE&G has told me that after they come through, they have to wait until the road settles. So they can't come, fill your hole, and pave, because the road will then sag. So there's a waiting period of at least 60 days. On Thomas Street, I know that DPW just went in and replaced curbing, put curbing in preparation for paving, which will be in the beginning of June.
And that is another issue that I wanted to bring up. The backfill that they used is, I mean, I don't want to like swear, it's complete garbage. They completely filled with rocks and glass. And this is like, like a lot of people who live in this town, I play on the lawn with my daughter. We run around, sometimes we are barefoot. And after they sort of like dug everything out and backfilled, I'm like looking at the stuff and I'm picking out like literal pieces of glass that like say Heineken on it. And so I actually took everything out, sifted through it, replaced it myself with sod because, I'm concerned, but I have, neighbors who can actually do that. And just the quality of work, the paving stones look awesome, but the gravel-ridden soil that they used is just complete and utter garbage. And I really have a severe problem with that. I wouldn't feel comfortable unless I mentioned that. But my real concern is for the street. Our street, when I spoke to PSE&G, I'm like, hey, when is our street getting paved? He's like, yeah, 2 weeks. Okay, 2 weeks is, a month and a half ago. And I understand, there's an order of operations and the street settling and all that. But I would like to know when, our street is going to get done, or if there's a list of streets that are going to get done. You had said last year that, next year your street is on it. DPW comes and dumps asphalt from time to time, which, I mean, they're one of the hardest working people, in the town. But they're only good as the delegation. So they're not actually they're filling the holes, but there's gravel everywhere. There's asphalt everywhere. And when other streets get, closed and then you have to drive down my street for a pass-through, it just gets ripped up anyway. So what I really want to know is when our street's getting paved.
I know you're on the list for beginning of June.
Okay.
We spoke about Thomas Street today, along with probably 30 other streets that are on the paving list at this point. But PSE&G has told us that we need to get our final list to them by the early next week so that they can be ready to go in June.
Okay, absolutely.
Is that a private contractor put in the curbing?
Yeah.
We could talk to them about the lousy fill.
It's the landscape.
And there's another thing that I wanted to just bring up. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
They had put one of the things that I had mentioned, and I had spoken to you
Yeah,
about that there is no drain on my side of the street. The closest one is literally 2.5 blocks away. They ended up putting a catch basin there, but when they backfilled everything with asphalt, it's now raised up, so the water can't actually get to it. So it's rained for the past month, and I've literally had to I've literally had to take a broom and sort of really broom it in there.
When they pave the road,
They'll build it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, you're right. The other thing is when you said PSE&G has a lot of asphalt, it's cold patch. It's not the hot stuff. So
I mean, this stuff looked pretty hot.
Yeah,
I mean, I saw.
Well, they'll heat it up, the cold patch, but it's not as good as the stuff that comes out of the quarry.
I'm not an asphalt.
Yeah,
guy.
I'm not either.
I see a guy driving, with their big excavators, and they're filled with, hot steam and stuff. So, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The question that always gets me, though, is when I was a kid, they'd pave a road, and it would last 20 years. And I still can't get an answer why the asphalt isn't the same.
It's probably because there's more cars on the road. And there's more.
But back roads.
Heavier cars. They're heavier.
Yeah.
Probably cut it with,
That's probably what they do.
because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
At least you didn't have the tar and then the rocks thrown on top of it.
Oh,
That was
I
awful.
used the word great. The slurry.
Not when you were riding a bike.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
just to close this out,
Okay.
I think you're hearing,
Thank you, Ellen.
there's a lot of frustration around town, and I think We just need more communication about what the
Kathleen,
plans are.
I will tell you that we share as much information as we're provided, and unfortunately, on any given day, it's not usually a lot. PSE&G usually emails me on Friday afternoon around 4:30 with the roads that they're telling us they're going to pave on Monday. But PSE&G does themselves door hanger all the streets that are being paved. So PSE&G is alert, it's their project, it's not our project. We have no control even what street is coming next. Aside from if we're telling them we're going to go in and pave, are you doing that street? And pretty much at this point, we've put our own paving projects on hold so that we can go back and pave what needs to be paved from their project.
Okay. Would it help for us to all go to PSE&G en masse and, okay.
Unfortunately, I don't think it would help.
Thank you.
And it's everywhere, it's not just New Providence,
No, I know,
it's the whole area that they're working through, so.
In fact, we did have a couple incidents where Marion Avenue, they just paved it, and 3 weeks later, they came in and tore it up. They had to pave curb to curb, and same with Upper Pearl Street. Just paved it like 3 days before, and they came in from Berkeley Heights and came all the way down. Never said a word. Oh, we just changed our plans. So,
Okay, just two things. Number one, I think you mentioned water main breaks, right? We have absolutely zero control over a water main break, right? Our infrastructure that's underneath our streets and roads is old, right? We've been talking for years about our infrastructure and the water company and PSE&G coming in here trying to upgrade the infrastructure under our roads. Unfortunately, we're having issues with some of our water mains, and those things have been happening since I've been here for a few years now. And as they happen, they get addressed, and unfortunately, it's kind of been piecemeal. But PSE&G is rolling this out throughout the whole state, right? They're running new gas lines throughout the whole state, billions of dollars. Yes, it's going to take many years, many years. They spent 6 months on my street alone.
And we're still there.
Yeah, still there. And the other thing was I wanted to address, I know we probably didn't touch on, was every year we come out with we have a rolling plan of streets to pave every year. So I would be very surprised to see if it was true that a street has not gotten paved in the last 15 years. And if it's true, that I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying I'd be very surprised because we do have this rolling plan of every so many years, every street should be either what's the screened, top screened, or I forget.
Micros.
Right.
You guys have
Or
done
milled
a
and
lot
paved.
of like pothole repair.
Yeah.
But I have it from like multiple neighbors that have been there for like generations at this point.
Yeah, no, so my point I wanted to make is that if that's true, right, those are things that we should be definitely, if we're letting know that street hasn't been paved in 10 years, I mean, that should make its way, right, to our borough administrator, and that would be probably the first street on the top of the list for the next year, right?
it goes by
consider-
what condition
True.
the street is in, but
But considering, right, other factors like
No,
utility work and things of
I
that
do
nature.
appreciate the fact that it didn't get paid last year. So we've had to rip it up
Right.
to do, so, I don't know if it was sort of known at the time that PSE&G was going to be coming in and like tearing stuff up, but, you had put the, sort of the list of streets on social media that need to get paid.
right.
I went and visited those streets, and they were in much better shape than our street was. And, I'll take it for whatever it's worth. I'm sort of happy that it wasn't done last year, but my entire block is looking forward to getting it done this year.
I think Wilbur's on there too, right?
But yeah, Thomas and Wilbur, it's sort of it's a very
Yeah,
similar street.
yeah, I know, yeah.
But it's a pass-through street, so anybody that's cutting from Springfield to south is, coming down Livingston and coming down our block, all in one.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
But it's also in our budget, right? So if you look at our budget every year, we come out with a list of streets that are on the budget that we anticipate to pay for that current year. However, right, things do change, right? Utility companies come in and say, hey, we're ripping up this street over here, so things do get rejiggered. We may get grant money and things of that nature, so things may change.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Matt, because that is part of our capital budget, is every year they look at the streets that need the most help. And that's before this project started, every year we come out with that list. So again, I'm not sure about that particular street, but that's something that, if it wasn't on the top of the list, then it would have been if it needed it.
Do you share that list with the
It comes out every year.
Where?
We mention it.
In the capital
In
budget.
the capital
Capital
budget.
budget.
Part of the capital budget, we list all the streets that are going to be done, all the sidewalks that are going to be done, everything is put out there.
Because I just looked at the budget.
We haven't done the.
That's not the capital budget, yes.
We haven't done the capital budget yet.
Capital
for this
budget
year.
hasn't been issued
Okay,
yet.
so can we look at last year's list, last year's capital budget?
It should be on there.
And that says what will happen this year, is that how it works?
It's, the last year, that's what should have happened in 2022, depending on when the money came in, if it was going to be paid for by a grant, if it was going to be paid for through the capital budget. Like we have the Safe Routes to School program, so all of those will come out. So there's all different funding that goes on beyond that, behind that, and that should be a part of the capital budget.
Okay. Anyone else wishing to address council? Seeing no one, I declare the public hearing closed. I need a motion for items 1 through 16.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, roll call.
Yeah, we skipped for it.
That was a good try.
Gotcha.
Mr. Belisca?
Aye.
Mr. DeSarno?
Aye.
Mr. Kaminsky?
Aye.
Mrs. Joshua?
Yes.
Mr. Kogi?
Yes.
Mrs. Pinkham?
Yes.
Motion for adjournment.
So
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
No, so be it. Thank you all for coming tonight.